Welcome, COH fans, to the live broadcast show of the ESL Opening Cup. That's Electronic Sports League. They have gotten into the Company of Heroes stuff here now, and we had one tournament played last weekend, which me, your host, FatalSaint from the Frontline Network, that's youtube.com/the Frontline Network. Go check that out. If you scroll down on the page you're looking at right now, you can see loads of links and stuff going on around there for the community, for our stuff, for everybody in the Company of Heroes community to check that out. Scroll on down while we're talking in the beginning. Tommy is away, so it's going to be me and FatalSaint who will be representing TFN, and I got my buddy on to cover for Tommy while he's away, and that one man is the admin for the ESL category of Company of Heroes. That's IpKaiFung. What's up, IpKai?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you doing? I'm glad to be here, representing ESL. We've got great plans for the Company of Heroes community. So this is just the beginning of our plans, and we hope that you enjoy the broadcast today and that you participate in further events that we hold.
Yeah, go check that out, and we will be sure to supply you guys with links to ESL. It's a little bit all over the place already on code2.org, for example. So go check that out and make sure to keep following that webpage so you can actually join up on some of the tournaments, for example, and maybe get some fame for yourselves down there and actually winning some of those tournaments. Because right now, I think this tournament that we are actually covering now, the opening cup, so to speak, it's just the first stepping stone of many for ESL and Company of Heroes 2. So check that out and join up, and let's grow the community a little bit. That's what TFN is all about right now, just growing the community. But I think we had approximately 60 signups or so for this tournament. Was that right?
We had about 100 signups.
Oh.
And yeah, about 100. So obviously we always have a high amount of drop-off. So in the end, we had about 52 competitors that were there on the day. So yeah, it went really well. Hopefully, we can learn from what went wrong, what went right, fix it for the next one. But as well as tournaments, we're also going to try and do leagues as well, so that you get to play. It'll be like a ladder board, but then you'll get to play the same person, twice, just like in a football league. So then it's a bit more fairer than the auto match ladder, because obviously in the auto match ladder, you can choose when to play, and so you can obviously decide when to dodge certain players. And as well as that, it's only one and done. So we want to do a best of three or some, fairer format for people. So not just tournaments, leagues as well. And they're in the pipeline. And hopefully, I'll be able to announce more cool stuff for everybody to enjoy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that myself, and I will be trying to cover as much content as possible, as much stuff that ESL pumps out. I will be sure to be there and try to actually produce some stuff for that as well. So that's what I'm doing tonight with IpKaiFung, is actually covering this opening cup, which went on for quite a while. It took the majority of the whole Sunday, I believe. You started some time during the daytime in Europe, and you weren't done until quite late in the evening, weren't you?
Yeah, we started at 4 Central European Summer Time, and we finished about 10:30, maybe 11. I'm not too sure when we finished, but it was around that time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, obviously I have to ask you guys in the audience to speak up. I just saw that Wayward just said that the audio seems low. Well, for my mic, I can't really do that much against upping that, because it's basically on max almost. I can up it a little bit, but at the same time, you guys gotta let me know if the voice volume differences between me and IpKaiFung is too low or it's too high or whatever. If someone is much louder than the other person, and obviously also we'll do one warm-up game first, and we actually have Cataclaw, who will be playing against HolyHammer. And Cataclaw, I believe, is from... He's streaming quite a lot of Company of Heroes too. You can find him on code2.org, the stream list, for example, on twitch.tv/Cataclaw or Craw Cataclaw. I can't remember exactly. But I think he's actually streaming right now, because he's been going on for almost 24 hours now. I'm not exactly sure if he's trying to break some record or something. Who knows? But yeah, very interesting guy to watch play. He's really good. And we also have HolyHammer, who will be playing against Cataclaw. And he's actually from Dawn of War 2, I believe.
Yep, yeah, he's from Dawn of War 2. He was quite a good player. I can't remember which faction he played. I believe it was either Orcs or Imperial Guard in Retribution.
Interesting.
But he was a pretty good player. I think he played Eldar as well. So a lot of players actually that were really good used to play loads of factions, and they would just counterpick a lot. So it would end up being a bit silly in tournaments.
Yeah.
But yeah, he played quite a few factions.
Okay, interesting, very interesting. But let's go ahead and go check out this matchup here now. First game, warm-up game. After this game is done and dusted, we'll move on to the finals games. So in the finals, we'll see who actually ends up winning this tournament. For you people that are unaware of who won, because I believe that they were streamed. I can't exactly remember if they were or were not, but yeah. But we'll go ahead and cover the finals of this ESL Opening Cup at least. But first off, we'll do this warm-up game between Cataclaw and HolyHammer. So you ready to go, IpKai, at 5-second mark?
Yep, ready to go.
Unpause in 3, 2, 1. Unpause. 6, 7, 8. 9 and 10, and we do have Cataclaw taking on the Axis side of things, while HolyHammer will be playing the Soviets, and he's actually doing something very strange already. He's actually opted to build his tier 1 building instantly. That is strange. Generally you see conscripts, obviously.
Yeah, generally most people will either build 3 or 4 conscripts at the start, and then they're either the tier 1 or the tier 2. Sometimes they'll get Molotovs after the 3rd or the 4th conscript squad. But yeah, this is quite unusual. You don't usually see people going for a special rifle command straight away.
No.
So obviously
Not straight off the bat. You know, as you said, you usually go for maybe 3 conscripts into some ticking. You go for tier 1 or tier 2 if you want Maxims, for example, or whatever. Maybe if your opponent goes heavy MGs, you want a mortar, whatever, or a sniper, for example, from the tier 1 to get rid of those guys. But generally, you know, you always start with a conscript, because that's basically the bulk of your forces as Soviets. You know, the conscripts, they scale fairly well with veterancy as well.
Yep, they do scale. Unfortunately, they are a bit weak against Grenadiers at the moment, so what you want to try and do is outnumber a Grenadier squad when you can. But they do scale really well, especially if you go Guard Rifle Combined Arms, which gives you PPSH hit the dirt, makes them scale really well into the late game.
Yeah, it gives you quite a lot of survivability buffs using Hit the Dirt, for example. The PPSH gives you a little bit more of a DPS output on your conscripts, which, as you say, they're, you know, compared to Grenadiers, they're not that sturdy. So you want to try and outnumber as much as possible. 2 conscripts versus a Grenadier squad, yeah, you're golden. You're going to win that engagement. But at the same time, when you get Hit the Dirt into the mix, for example, and especially PPSHs, then you can go 1-1 easily against a Grenadier squad. But it all depends, obviously, if your opponent uses the rifle nade, for example, well, when you use Hit the Dirt and he actually just backpedals away a little bit. That's going to be enough to land that nice rifle nade, and especially if the Grenadiers is equipped with an LMG 42, for example, then they can most likely beat the Hit the Dirt conscripts. But it's very, very hard to say who's going to win in Company of Heroes 2 in every engagement, because it's random, obviously.
Yeah, a lot of that is down to all infantry models have 80 hit points, but the Grenadiers, although there's only 4 men in a squad, they actually have more armor.
Yeah.
And it basically means that about 60% of the time, when a shot lands after the accuracy roll, when the shot lands, that means there's a 60% chance that they'll take damage, and then the other 40% then basically means that they won't take any damage. So sometimes you can get some really good dice rolls on the Grenadiers where they don't take any damage after hits have been registered. So that sort of edges it over slightly for the Grenadiers. Along with, as you said, the LMG 42 upgrade, which gives them phenomenal damage up close and at long range as well.
Yeah, the LMG is very powerful at this time in the game, and I think it's basically the go-to upgrade that most German players goes for, getting the LMG on their Grens, because the Grens, like the conscripts, are basically the bulk of the forces. So if you can keep those guys alive, which is hard enough being 4 men, especially with snipers on the field, which we see in this game, it can be hard to keep them alive at 4 men, because the sniper doesn't really care about the armor. If he misses the shot, that's one thing, but if he rolls a hit and the armor doesn't actually basically nullify it, you're gonna lose 1 Grenadier, and you know, it just takes 4 sniper shots for an entire squad to go down. So especially when there's double snipers on the field, if you take 1 shot each, you're basically forced to retreat. Otherwise, you're gonna risk losing your Grenadier squad.
Yep, totally true. It seems that HolyHammer has gone for the scout car with a sniper in it, so he's going to try and harass Grenadier squads. You're trying to get a man kill here or there, you know, to drain manpower.
Yeah, one good counter to that is actually doing what Cataclaw is doing, sticking in buildings, because snipers only have 50% chance of hitting stuff in buildings.
It's actually lower, it's 40%.
40%? Oh, wow.
Yep. So yeah, really good idea. Stick in the building. I mean, in COH1 you wouldn't do that because every shot would hit. But
Yeah, in COH1 it's basically the sniper is a counter to units in building. If you don't get a mortar, you get a sniper. That's how you get stuff out of buildings in Vico, obviously with grenades, etc. as well, and just small arms fire. If you overwhelm your opponent in the building with 2 or 3 squad compared to the 1 squad in the building, you're still going to win as well. But especially the sniper in Vico was like the go-to super hard counter against units in buildings. If your opponent was basically building camping all over the place, you just, got a sniper and start picking them off, because they can't retaliate as a sniper had superior range to the units in the building.
Yep, that is completely true. But now, I mean,
Faust?
it's really risky shooting a building.
Yeah, it's a Faust going in on the scout car, but the sniper is laying in the hurt on the Grenadier squad still, so he's going to be forced to retreat, especially as that MG on that scout car is pretty good against infantry too.
Yep, it's really good. I think it got nerfed in the last patch at long range, but up close still does quite a bit of damage. Because I remember when I was playing before in a few patches, at max range you could sometimes kill a man or two with the gun on the M3. So it did get a bit of a nerf in the DPS department.
Yeah, at least, and especially, if the DPS is the same in close range, you're still going to get Fausted, so that's always a problem. So staying at maximum range and still doing a lot of damage, which was common before, is not that common anymore. And at the same time, they also changed, so if there's actually a garrison unit in the M3 when it gets destroyed, completely destroyed, I mean, not just damaged, but completely destroyed, there's a chance that whoever is actually garrisoning the half-track, they will die in the process as well.
Yeah, that's right. I believe it's 50% per man. So, like, if it's a sniper squad, you've got a 50% chance of one person living, 25% chance of both of them living, and a 25% chance of them both dying. Yeah. When the vehicle dies.
So it's basically, you gotta be more careful with your M3s right now compared to before, because you could basically just rush in there against 2 Grenadier squads, for example. You felt that the M3 has basically outlived its usefulness and you just want to sacrifice it and do as much damage as possible. Stick a Comet in there with a Flamer in it, just rush it into 2 Gren squads, gets double Fausted, lose the scout car, but none of the engineers actually dies in the explosion. But now they do. So yeah, that's the difference. Here's the first use of Hit the Dirt down south at this fuel point, but right now it looks like Cataclaw, he's not really sitting on many sectors now, is he?
No, he's only got 3 strat points. That won't give him a great amount of resources compared to HolyHammer, who's got most of the map now. So he'll be a bit of a disadvantage. I'm not sure, I mean, he'll want munitions now to help counter these vehicles. But I'm guessing since he hasn't had a lot for a lot of the game, he's going to be quite starved on ammo.
Yeah, I believe that he has just spent most of his fuel building and taking to the tier 2 building and getting a scout car out. Now Cataclaw is basically sitting on 10 fuel, so he can't really produce anything else that requires fuel right now. But getting that scout car is going to be good, especially if he decides to upgrade it, which he has done. The upgrade just hits, and he's going to be able to chase these M3s now. Problem is, he's got a Marcus car now, HolyHammer, with guards in it, so that's actually going to counter this armored car as well.
Yep, the Marcus car is very good at countering upgunned armored cars. But Cataclaw is going for the one with the sniper. Oh, and the sniper dies as well.
Oh, the sniper died entirely as well in that explosion, so that was 25% chance of that happening, and that was exactly what happened. And yeah, that's one sniper and the M3 out. Especially killing the sniper is a huge victory for Cataclaw right now, because that's basically the thing that's consistently doing damage to his forces, just picking away one man at a time. Without out of the picture, I see the possibilities of a nice comeback now.
Yeah, good. It was a good kill. I mean, it was about 400 and something manpower. I think 440 and a bit of fuel as well, so that puts HolyHammer a bit. But he is, I believe, building mines up in... Where's he building? Yeah, up by the northern strat point, yeah.
The MG actually catches him, but it's not setting up. He could have most likely just set it up straight into the face of that Comet Engineer squad and polish it off. Because especially while building, you take increased damage. Yep, Gren in the center.
Oh, outnumbered and dead.
Yeah, that's what happens when you play against a Soviet player and you don't have the MG up and close somewhere to actually suppress blobs of infantry like this. If you get outnumbered, as we mentioned in the beginning of this game, you know, the German player is going to lose. One Gren squad is not going to be able to take on 2 conscripts, especially not when you throw a guard into the mix as well.
Yep, no, certainly. Although guards don't do amazing damage, they're still not too bad, especially with the DP28 upgrade as well.
Yeah.
Also of note, they actually have armor as well. They've got 1.5 armor, so you could consider them as a beefy grenadier squad.
Yeah, they're fairly pricey at 360 manpower, and obviously they're doctrine specific as well, so you don't always get them unless you choose to go with a doctrine that can offer you guards. You can also get shock troops, for example, which has been changed in one of the recent patches as well. Not the last one, but a few patches ago. They changed the price from 360 manpower and then 60 munitions for the PPSHs. Oh, nice bundle! Almost takes out a full conscript squad, but one man was out of range from that splash damage. That was lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on the spread of the unit. Usually, when you're using grenades, what you should look for is a really good clumping to use the grenades, because what I've found is that in this game, the splash on most of the explosive weapons is very low. So what you want to do is when you see them clumping is the time to use a grenade. Rifle grenades are just as effective as well, I should add. The problem is that obviously you have to be quite far away. So, but it does take a while for the hit the dirt to the cooldown to come back off, so that they can take off the debuff or whatever it's called.
Yeah, exactly. Also, you gotta pay attention now in Company of Heroes 2 compared to VCO, that so you don't actually grenade yourself, because that can happen now in VCO when American Riflemen, for example, threw a grenade. The same squad that threw the grenade itself can't be damaged by their own grenades. So there was basically no... You could grenade other squads, but you couldn't grenade the same squad that throws the grenade. But in Company of Heroes 2, that can happen, because I've seen plenty of time where guard squads basically throw a grenade and then run into it themselves. P-Grants do the same thing as well, because you've actually told your squad to move, and then you throw the grenade, and your squad keeps moving into the grenade that was just thrown, and you blow yourself up.
Yeah, I mean, a good way I found to avoid that is that if you use grid keys, is when you want to throw a grenade, press W, then press Z quickly, so then you can throw the grenade. And then it stops the squad from moving onto the grenade that you throw.
Yeah, you don't want to grenade yourself. It's never a good idea. VP-wise, Cataclaw has been drained a bit. He's down to below 350 right now, but he's doing some fairly good pressure, and he's actually getting some of the territories back. Nice rifle nade usage against these hit-the-dirt conscripts. And, even with the buff, when you're laying around in negative cover, small arms fire from a P-Grunt squad in a building is going to be enough to force that off, and that actually rewards the P-Grunt squad with one stripe of veterancy as well.
Yep, that gives them the med packs, I believe, which is not a bad ability to use on MG42s, for example, if they're on the field a bit wounded. You don't have to go back to the base to heal them up. So it's I think it's a good ability.
Yeah. Sneaky guard squad in the backfields actually decap the fuel. P-Grunt squad shows up and chases them off and actually trying to cap it. But he's not going for the cutoff instead. But I believe he still might be connected if he goes ahead and grabs the cutoff of his opponent. He could do a full wraparound. I'm not exactly sure right now. But it looks like the tables have turned a little bit. So the Soviet player now is semi-stuck in his base. He's trying to get out of his base, but that scout car basically stops all of his M3s from exiting the base, so he can just hang around in the base with an extremely damaged M3 that managed to survive the previous engagement. And now with a half-track and that building... the buildings on especially Kolodny Firma maps are very, very devastating in, if your opponent gets a hold of them. Just outside of your base.
Yeah, that one's quite an annoying house to lose. Especially, if you're playing as Axis on the left-hand side, it's really difficult to get out of your base or move about, because they have a conscript squad in there. It's really hard to dislodge them. And as Germans, you don't have too many options, to be honest.
What's this M3 doing?
Fighting his M3.
Why?
That's a bit crazy.
I don't know what just happened. Why did that just happen? That must have been a misclick. I don't know. That was crazy.
He didn't like what the driver said to him when he clicked it.
Maybe he was spam clicking the M3 and he was just begging for repairs and telling him that he was stupid or something, and he just, no, you're stupid. I'm gonna sacrifice you right now. Ura used from these conscripts, most likely trying to go after the scout car, trying to get an AT nade on the half-track maybe. Yeah, there goes one, but it's not going to be enough. And there are plenty of German forces in the center right here, so I think he's doing something... Oh, that was a brutal bundle.
That was a great
one
grenade.
Man. He's gonna run the gauntlet, though. He's gonna run the gauntlet.
Yeah. He managed to survive, luckily.
Ooh, Pigran squad almost goes down to one man. He got sniped by a new sniper team actually that has hit vet 1 now with 7 kills, which enables them to use the sprint ability, which makes them basically impossible to catch for infantry.
Yeah, it's a really useful ability. I want to add as well that HolyHammer is about 50% done on an SU-85 as well. So that's going to come out in about a minute or so, maybe 30 seconds. I'm not sure of the build times off the top of my head.
Nice rifle nade attempt on the sniper team from HolyHammer from Cataclaw, but the snipers quite easily moved out of the splash radius from that Gwen rifle nade. We do have an armored car. Did he just go basically almost through the Soviet base to come up from behind on these snipers here? And there is a combat in the squad, but they're not going to be good against these vehicles. The sniper actually does get into cover, cloaks, takes a shot, and then retreats due to this Vet 2 armored car now, trying to focus fire him down, gets one out of the 2-man sniper team members, but actually manages to retreat. Here's the Su-85 now from the Soviet player. That's going to turn the tables against these vehicles. The vehicle supremacy, which Cataclaw has had for the past 5 to 8 minutes or so. But there's actually no tech in Cataclaw's base, and he has opted to get a pack against this Su-85.
Yeah, pack's not a bad choice. Panzergrenz with Panzerfaust as well. Not Panzerfaust, Panzerschreck's really good too. The thing is though, you're going to have to support these weapons as well, because he's still got quite a good anti-infantry presence. So it won't be easy getting rid of this Su-85 right at the moment.
Nah, not with conscript support, especially not with PPSHs. They're very good against support weapons like packs, for example. But the recent patch added 1 man to all of this Axis support weapons, MGs, mortars, and packs, I believe. Now from 3 to 4 men instead. So they're a little bit more sturdier, especially against snipers. I find that the change was really good, because the Soviet snipers are extremely hard to deal with currently in Company of Heroes 2, I find. I think, yeah, for me, the sniper team, unless you catch them out with a Pigran squad, which just happened and kills them off instantly, they're very hard to counter, actually. But you kind of gotta outsmart your opponent using true sight, coming around corners, you know, jumping out of bushes and whatnot, to catch them off guard somewhere, and then get some nice crits on them when they retreat.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that Cataclaw's Panzergrenadier squad, which was hovering around the strap point outside HolyHammer's base, just took out the sniper squad.
Yeah, I caught that.
So, yeah.
So he's dealt with the sniper, and basically what remains now is this SU. It's going to be good against this half-track, which was 18-aided, and the SU was going after it, but as it was actually Fausted previously, it still hasn't gotten its engine back, so it's extremely slow, so this half-track is most likely to be able to get away. I see that there was actually a dropped PTRS at one of the P4 carcasses down in the south at the fuel point. Not exactly sure if that was the entire guard squad that went down.
No, I think it was just a drop, because I don't think he lost that guard squad. It's still the same one from the start, or when he called it in. Sorry.
Yeah. Trying to regain some territory. It's basically 50-50, and the drain has actually been turned on the Soviet players. So he's now down on VPs compared to Cataclaw's, which basically went down to 346 in the early game and then turned the game around by doing a very nice defensive positioning in the center of the map. And the Soviet player kind of threw himself into the defenses, which cost him quite a lot of manpower. He should most likely have opted to go around in force, maybe get 2 infantry squads and go down, or go up north, for example. Instead of trying to just brute force his way through the center. It's just never gonna work.
No, I mean, it was a bit of a risky move, to be honest.
Ooh, grenade tennis against the guards, and the Pigrans, the guards try to move away, but they get nailed
really nice
by
one.
that bundle. Forced retreat. Pigran squads are actually running back to base as well due to the sniper. Another sniper, so he's lost 2 snipers now, and he just keeps... So I think that HolyHammer knows the importance of snipers when playing Soviets. Against 4-man infantry squads, 1 sniper is very good. 2 snipers are basically devastating, but they're fairly pricey at 360 manpower, so getting 2 at 720 manpower is quite pricey, but at least always having the 1, you can have a consistent manpower drain on your opponent.
Yeah, he's also building another sniper, but snipers also have this ability of making people sniper blind. That's what I like to call it. So people focus on, you know, they think, he's got a sniper, I really gotta kill him, it's really annoying me, and they'll try at all costs to kill that sniper to the detriment of, you know, them losing other units or not, you know, focusing on their map control. And it's like a psychological tool as well as being, you know, a manpower drain tool as well.
Yeah, Sniper Rage, extremely common in Competitive Heroes franchise. Competitive Heroes 1, Competitive Heroes 2, doesn't really matter. People get Sniper Range and they get Sniper Blind. And they just throw stuff at it because they just so desperately want to kill it. But at the same time, generally, what you see, especially the top tier players do, is just avoid the snipers instead. But it can be extremely hard, especially when playing against a very good opponent. You most likely won't be able to avoid the sniper because his sniper will always be right there. Always in the places where you don't want his sniper to be. That's where your enemy sniper is going to be at all times, basically.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think in the last the TFN finally saw Aimstrong use snipers really, really well.
And the sniper sprint.
Yes, the sprint as well. Just getting his snipers out of dodge, such a fantastic ability to have on a fragile unit.
I think this might be a little bit of Sniper Rage, but there are plenty of mines in the center. SU actually misses, and the half-track's going to opt to back away after trying to get at those two Soviet sniper teams in the center. But there are 2 mines as well, so if there is some form of a rush against these 2 snipers, the mine's most likely going to damage the engine of any vehicle that tries to go there, especially against lighter vehicles who can even destroy the engine, which means they basically won't move at all after that. You know, it's as close to immobilization as you can get without being immobile.
Yeah, I think with the half-track as well, it'll be really messed up by a mine. The other thing as well I've noticed is that the MGs on it aren't too great at killing men. I wouldn't have used it to try and kill a sniper, to be honest. The scout car seems a lot better at that.
Yeah, the scout car, I believe, also, especially the un-upgunned version, was buffed recently in the patch. I believe it got some form of a DPS buff on that MG, actually. That's if you don't upgun it.
Yeah, if you don't upgun it, what they did, they doubled the damage, so it went up by 50%.
Yeah.
From max range. Whereas the scout car, the Russian one, sorry, got the DPS nerfed by half at long range. So they changed the damage output. They kind of swapped them around, basically.
Bit of a dynamic change, you know. The German scout car better at longer range, and the M3 better at closer range. I like that change. It's very hard to say if it's good or bad outright. It's basically impossible to say what's good and bad outright without actually playtesting it for a couple of hundreds of hours or thousands or whatever. So yeah, obviously patches needs time to be perfect. It's just going to take a lot of time. I see a lot of people actually going like, you know, the balance is kind of out of whack. You need to change it now. But the thing is, and I also know from reading the forums, you kind of gotta weigh the consequences of what you do. You know, maybe if you do it, if I buff the Stug, which right now feels kind of weak, but the same thing goes for the T-34s, people think that's weak, so if you buff the Stug, the T-34 will become even weaker. You know, you can't just go, this unit needs a buff this unit, because it's going to affect all other units on the field as well.
Oh yeah, it's a really complex thing to do, and I think they're doing it the right way by having really small changes, not too often. Because, I mean, the one thing you don't want to do is keep changing it all the time, so it makes it difficult for a person to learn the game, because things keep changing all the time. And the other thing as well, you don't want to have too big changes as well, because then that can throw things out of whack completely, and the game ends up being completely different, and then you have to learn, you know, a new game, basically.
Yeah, it's hard when you do massive changes as well, because everything changes. As I mentioned, if you change one unit, it can affect other units as well, not just the one unit that you actually changed. So it's very hard, especially while doing bigger patches, to get things to actually roll out perfectly. It's basically impossible, because it needs time. People need to try different things and different tactics and different build orders to say, you know, specifically that this one, maybe this one, maybe that one. I don't exactly know, because it's very hard to tell. Ooh, nice bundle in the south at the VP. Nice. Conscript's been a bit lucky compared to the German infantry. Another squad goes down. That Pigren squad down south gets killed by the second Conscript squad. He should have just thrown the grenade and actually retreat, but I believe that Cataclaw just threw in the towel, perhaps?
Yeah, he did. That one loss is enough. I think he hasn't got any mainline troops left.
He got one P4, that's basically it.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have done too well against the Su-85s. So yeah, he just threw it in. Unfortunately, we can't see the chat logs. So that's one thing to put in the next patch.
Yeah, that's one of many things that are supposed to be coming soonish. I believe that Relic has a roadmap, and it's basically set at 90 days, I believe. So within the next 3 months, I believe there will be quite a lot of changes, and they'll be coming in not too rapidly with smaller things, but obviously then there's most likely going to be some bigger things within the next 90 days. So we just gotta stay tuned basically and see what Relic comes up with. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and stick around for the finals, which will be coming up next. And until then, we'll take a short break, me and IpKai, and load up the proper replays, and we'll see you guys soon.
Laters.